Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever part of this world you're in. This is your girl, Florida Rebirth. Let me put this disclosure out. If you don't subscribe, subscribe to me, share, copy the link, go to my Instagram, Florida Rebirth, and follow me because we're getting ready to get rocking and rolling. We'll also have some live conversations so you can interact with myself on Instagram and on YouTube as well. So, guess what tomorrow is? Tomorrow's my birthday, July 1st, and it's summertime. And if you're like me, you get a little antsy and you start getting a little emotions and things of that nature. Hopefully, you do. You got to find the bright side of everything that's going on in the world right now. So when I think about July, not just because it's my birthday month, but I think about summer, I think about sun, I think about hopefulness, and of course, I think about love. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about and want you to interact with me going forward. So today I'm just going to talk a little bit about love and what it is to me and what is it. What does that word mean? Who created the word for one? Without even thinking about how you spell the word love, of course, we know it's kind of like a feeling, it's an emotion. And it can be between a mother and parent, a father and parent, uh, mother, father, and child. It can be your best friend, your cousin. It could be your life partner. It could be your husband, your wife. So it can be love for yourself. Love for self. Yes, that is such a love. So we're going to talk about a lot of those topics on my series that I call Involuntary Love. And if you never heard of it or experienced it, don't worry. I didn't know what it was until I experienced it. Involuntary love. Okay. So we'll build up today, but to that. But this is going to be session one, Involuntary Love, session one. So we're going to talk about love today and what it is to you and to me, uh, rather. So to me, love is an expression and it can change over time. People talk about love languages. When I was a teenager, it was all about adoration and telling me you love me and showing me you love me by what you said and how you hugged me and held me, so to speak. And even into your 20s, you have those same notion, and at least I did. Not everyone. So to me, love is now action, which means what? I do not care what you see. I want to see action. What you say should equal what you do. And I'm not talking about perfection, but what you say should equal what you do. So if I say I love my child, then my child is looking at me to be protective, to be accepting when they do things that I per se don't like, if you will. So love to me is acceptance, acceptance of who I am, regardless of what I do, still loving me, not loving what I've done to offend you, but loving me, not saying I don't love you because you didn't perform a certain way. And I used to have that notion that I have these expectations of a man that said, if he doesn't act the way I think he should act or show me love the way I think he should show me love, I would get offended and I would just, go off the handle and be honest with you, you know? So I had to grow into and learn that it's not my role to control a person. People are who they are. And if they want to change who they are, they want to change how you perceive them, then they will. If they don't, then that is their right. Then you have to decide what? I have to decide that I'm able to accept the way they are capable of loving me, or I'm not and move on. So that is what love is to me now when you communicate. And I know I'm going a little bit in general circles, but I just want to give you a grasp of everything that we're going to be talking about in the sessions to come. And self-love. Self-love is one of those things that you can have parents that are hardcore and took care of you and protected you, but they may not have been emotional and say that they love you. Or you can have those parents that was loving you too much, right? Like my daughters often tell me sometimes that I'm a helicopter mom. They love it, but I am a helicopter mom. I have to let them breathe a little bit, because I'm so protective and I'm so mushy wishy. And so I grew up with the parents that you heard them tell you you love them, that they love you, but you didn't hear it as often as you need to do this, you need to do that. And they were very protective about our surroundings and things we did or things we wore or dating and things of that nature, or work hard. If you don't know how to get it, you're going to learn how to get it, because that's how I had to get it. So as a parent, I transferred to take part of that and then add that other part of the emotional part. So sometimes I'm too far to the left, sometimes I'm too far to the right, but I like to think I find that happy medium. So that's another type of love when you're dealing with self love. And so some of us may have to have, and how we deliver it going forward to our relationships, depending on how we grew up. And then sometimes you have that self love, you have everything was given to you, but you weren't physically, but you weren't taught the importance of putting yourself first. And that it's okay to love yourself. It's not that you're not being humble, it's that you have a right to love yourself as much as you are expected to love someone else. So until you love yourself, until you know yourself, you don't know what type of the person that you need to love you. For instance, when I got married in my early 20s, not even 23, so I was a type, I'm a free spirit, if you will. So my husband was very A-line, doom, 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 right? But so he tried to change, or I tried to change him to be a little bit more free spirit. He tried to change me to be more just sit down and just stay at home, don't go to work, don't do this, don't do that. And of course, we've all grown since then, of course, but and found a happy medium. But here's the deal: we're both two great people. It doesn't mean we were two great people meant for each other. So we looked at it from that perspective and said, okay, it's okay. We're going to co-parent, but we are not going to try to change each other, if you will. So I'm kind of giving you an idea of things. And of course, we're going to dove into intimacy. What is intimacy when you're dealing with love? And we're talking about physical intimacy. What type of physical intimacy do you perceive? And some of us are of religious nature and say, well, if you're not married or if you aren't married, but here's the deal, you still are intimate individual unless you're just that rare majority that's been blessed with that gift of, oh, I just want to live my life, my purpose, my God-given purpose, and I don't want any physical intimacy with another person. Then guess what? You're going to come to that, right? Or you're already there. And then you have couples that have been married for years, and now how do they revamp? How do they revamp their intimacy? Because they're changing as individuals. So now your needs may be changing. Or you may get to the point where you're not physically able because of illness. So, but you still learn, or earn. I'm sorry, uh, earn. Y'all know it's early morning, afternoon. But you still have that urge for intimacy. So how do you still provide that intimacy if you cannot be physical without feeling physical in the way you were accustomed to? So those are things that people are dealing with in this real world. Okay. And we're going to talk about those things. So I also want to share with you that in all that we talk about, whether it's live or it's just me speaking to you now, I'll try to share a poem with you as well. So right now we're going to be going through a series, Involuntary Love. And of course, we'll talk about other topics, but right now I'm focusing on love because it's in the month of July, because I'm feeling very lovely. Yes, and my birthday's tomorrow. So I want to share a poem with you in closing that I wrote a few years back. I can't remember when, but probably like 5 years ago. And it's called The Essence of a Love. It says, when I try to stop loving you, I hurt more. When I try to be angry at you, I hurt more. When I try to think of every excuse I'm better off without you, I hurt more. When I continuously relive the mistakes you and I both made, I hurt more. When I focus on how I feel, I hurt more. When I forgave myself and you, I hurt less. When I became grateful to know I could love less and I could love more, when I found peace in knowing you were okay and happy, although without me, I hurt less. When I cry because of the loss I feel and smile brightly afterwards, I hurt less. When days pass, years pass, because I know I loved you unconditionally, I'll hurt less. And this I have come to know is the true essence of love. So I hope you enjoyed our first introduction segment of Involuntary Love. Like I said, copy, share, follow me on Floetry Rebirth. And I hope to see you real soon in the month of July because the next topic is gonna be on fire. Have a great day and get out and love somebody.